Snow drifted across the empty town square like tiny shards of glass, cold, glittering, and almost cruel beneath the trembling glow of Christmas lights. The wind whistled through the decorated trees, carrying scraps of tinsel, broken ornaments, and the last remnants of a holiday that felt warm for everyone except her. Christmas night was supposed to be a symphony of laughter, hot cocoa, fireplaces, and families tucked safely into the joy of the season. But for one woman, sitting alone on a frostbitten bench with her newborn cradled against her chest, the world felt like it had turned its back. Snow fell in relentless sheets, blanketing the quiet town in shimmering white. The square, normally bright with shoppers and children playing, had turned into a hollow, echoing space where every gust of wind felt like a warning. The Christmas lights flickered weakly, struggling to hold on to their glow as if they, too, were exhausted. Nothing about the night felt comforting, except the hope clinging desperately to the woman on the bench. Please like, subscribe. Mystic Story. As Harper Crane tried to sit upright despite her trembling. Her coat was too thin, the kind meant for mild winters, not nights like this where even the air felt sharp enough to cut. She wrapped her newborn tighter and pressed her cheek against his soft head, drawing what little warmth she could from his tiny body. June and Marlowe snuggled into her sides, instinctively sensing the danger even if they didn't have words for it. June's voice broke the silence. "Mom, did Santa forget us this year?" Harper closed her eyes. It wasn't the question that hurt, it was the trust in her daughter's tone, the hope she didn't want to crush. She forced a smile she didn't feel. "No, sweetheart, he's just running late." But the truth weighed heavily in her chest. There was no Santa. No gifts. No home. No husband. The grief still echoed like a fresh wound. Oliver's death had unraveled everything. He had been strong, careful, loving, and gone within minutes after a sudden cardiac event. The world had collapsed quietly, mercilessly. Harper fought to keep the pieces together, but life kept hitting harder. Job loss. Bills. Eviction. And finally, this. Christmas on a bench with her children, praying the cold wouldn't steal them away. Across the lot, the maroon pickup remained parked beneath the flickering lamp. Its headlights dimmed, engine humming softly. Inside sat Calder Briggs, former Navy SEAL, hometown boy, and a man haunted by more ghosts than anyone realized. That he had returned home only a week earlier, hoping for peace after years of missions that carved scars deep into his mind. The snow reminded him of silence he felt overseas, the kind that stretched endlessly between life and death. But tonight, something tugged him out of his memories. A shape. A woman, children. His chest tightened. Most people would have kept driving. But Calder was not most people. Arrow, his German shepherd, lifted his head and whined softly, sensing his partner's shift in mood. Calder's eyes stayed fixed on the distant figures, the way the woman hunched protectively, the children tucked against her, the faint movement of a tiny baby. He stepped out into the snow. Harper noticed him instantly. Fear spiked through her. She straightened, shielding her daughters even though her body shook violently. She was used to danger now, used to people looking through her or past her, pretending not to see her pain. But this man, this stranger, didn't feel the same. He approached slowly, stopping several feet away so he wouldn't frighten them. Arrow sat obediently beside him, ears alert but gentle. "Ma'am?" Calder's voice was low, warm, steady. "Are you all right?" The question broke something inside Harper. For months, no one had asked her that with sincerity. She wanted to lie. She wanted to be strong. But when she opened her mouth, her voice cracked. "We don't have anywhere to go." She hated how small her voice sounded. How her daughters looked up at her, scared and confused. Calder knelt down, not to intimidate, but to meet the children's height. Snowflakes caught on his dark hair, melting slowly. Arrow gently nudged June's mitten with his nose, drawing a tiny smile from her. Calder's heart clenched. "No one should be out here tonight," he said quietly. "Especially not you." Harper swallowed, tears clinging to her lashes. "I'm sorry. I'm trying." Don't apologize," he interrupted softly. "Surviving does not need an apology." Something deep inside her cracked open, relief, exhaustion, hope. Then he extended his hand. "No pressure, no demand, just a choice. Come with me," he said. "Please." Harper hesitated. Trust was a luxury she hadn't been able to afford for a long time. But when she looked at her daughters, shivering, tired, hungry, and then into Calder's steady eyes, she felt something she hadn't felt in months: safety. She placed her hand into his. It was cold, fragile, trembling. But full of silent belief, Calder helped them into his truck, wrapping the girls in warm blankets. Arrow curled protectively beside them. Harper held her newborn close, her heart racing with fear and gratitude. He drove them to his home, a warm cabin near the woods, decorated simply but lovingly. The moment they stepped inside, heat wrapped around them like an embrace. Calder made hot soup. Found soft pajamas for the girls. Wrapped Harper in a thick blanket. He didn't bombard her with questions. Didn't pry. Didn't judge. He simply offered kindness. A kind she had almost forgotten existed. Weeks passed, healing began slowly. Tenderly Calder helped repair June's boots. He fixed the stroller Harper relied on. He stocked the fridge. He held the baby when Harper needed a moment to breathe. He was gentle with them in a way that felt careful, deliberate. Harper learned his quiet rhythms, how he drank his coffee slowly, how he spoke softly to Arrow, how he sometimes stared at the mountains like they held secrets he didn't dare voice. They both carried wounds, visible and invisible, and somehow, their broken pieces aligned. As winter melted into spring, Harper found steady work with Calder's help. The children laughed more. The baby grew stronger. Harper began to look like herself again, not the woman beaten down by life, but the woman who once loved fiercely, lived fully, dreamed boldly. And Calder, he found something he didn't expect: purpose, belonging. A family where he never thought he'd have. One afternoon, Harper stood beside him in the yard, watching her children laugh as Arrow chased them in circles. The air was warm, carrying the scent of pine. She glanced at Calder, and he looked back at her with a softness that made her breath hitch. No words were needed. Some miracles arrive softly, some families are found unexpectedly, some Christmas nights rewrite destinies, and sometimes, just sometimes, one act of kindness becomes the beginning of a lifetime of healing, hope, and love.